After this very interesting infra roundtable, we have another roundtable, this time about Gentoo's PR, and Alex here, who is one of the PR guys on Gentoo, is going to coordinate the talk and give us some input about the team.
Okay, so this talk somewhat overlaps with the infra one in regards to the website. What I want to quickly tell you about is what activities the German Gentoo e.V. does, which is the European counterpart to the foundation, basically. And then I'd like to give you a quick summary of the Gentoo website survey that I did in August, and then we can just, in the previous session, exchange our thoughts. So, the Förderverein Gentoo E.V., as you say it in German properly, is a registered association. It's like a foundation, just a German law thing. Gives us a few benefits, like being a proper business entity. The Förderverein manages the trademark for the European countries. Our main activities are supporting events, both with manpower and with merchandise. And the second thing is designing that merchandise, or coming up with ideas for what we could give people. Our biggest venue we support is probably the Linux Tag in Germany, with around 10,000 visitors every year. But also we've supplied merchandise to things like Foston and other things. The typical booth setup that we do is, I don't know if the American people know this, or if their booths are any different. What we try to do is get people as close to us as possible. I've oftentimes seen these tables that you have at the American conferences where you sit behind a table and the people are in front. Is that so, or?
It varies. Sorry.
Your booth looks professional.
Yes, the way the EV does the booths, from what I've seen a few times, looks much more professional. The largest thing that actually ends up happening with the American conference is that if you want something like that, you need to pay for those chairs and those tables from the conference provider at ridiculous rates.
This is something we don't have. So we get sponsored. This is Linux Talk, for instance, where you have to apply, but you get the booth furniture sponsored. There's a pool, and you have to say, okay, we want a table, we want like a magazine rack, and we want chairs and so on. And this is, I think, where we get more support than the US conferences do.
Yeah, so for many years I've gone to the MySQL conference and manned the PHP MyAdmin booth. And if you were lucky, you got 2 chairs and a small table. Sometimes you got 1 chair. And that was it. And if you wanted something beyond that, chairs were $40 a day, the table was $200 a day, and you couldn't bring external stuff. You're not allowed to.
Yeah. So we're quite lucky to have these opportunities that we're using, and the feedback we get from these is very good. People come by, tell us their experiences with Gentoo, when they use it already, what they like, what they don't like. We have things like you have everywhere else, like asking questions, getting packages into the tree, and all that. And what we do is come up with merchandise. For instance, these mugs that you can still buy at the Gentoo booth outside. We would have wanted to have more merchandise here for you, but thanks to probably DHL or Deutsche Post, some of it got missing. So if you're looking for T-shirts or these lanyard things, probably at the next conference you'll be able to get them. I'm really sorry that we couldn't get them here for you. Okay, so this is what the Gentoo EV basically does, and we hope that we contribute positively to Gentoo's public appearance with our works. The second part that I want to talk about is the website survey. As I know the website, and as you know, The website has been a topic for several years. And I remember the current version is made by Daniel Robbins around the 2000s. There's a 3-part series on how he designed it. And we've been trying with about as much success to get package statistics up to refresh the looks of the website. And we probably will need a little more time to get anything done here. And I'm trying to come up with motivation, and especially with more people to get finally something done, and to get an idea what the community thinks of the website, what it wants to have, what things we can neglect because it's not needed, were goals of the survey. So in early August, I put up links on our websites, and we got around 1,400 participants, of which 80 were developers, which is a quite nice amount of people. We asked several questions, and probably the most important one was the last one, where our main motivation to do anything about the website should come from, and that was the question, do you think Gentoo.org would benefit from a visual update? And we've had a vast majority of people agreeing to that. So we had 45% saying yes, with 37%, I guess, but still a positive notion. With only 16% of people saying no. And these 16% of people, interestingly, were not just long-time users. I noticed there is a certain kind of user. He's been using Gentoo for longer than 5 years in multiple venues, like at home, at university, at his job. And they always say they know their way around the website. They know how it works. They know where to find stuff. They're accustomed to the look and feel. It's minimalistic. It loads fast and all these things. But still, even long-time users want a visual update. The following questions I've grouped. First the developers. Developers got some separate questions than users about getting a feel for what else we could use besides the current website backend. So as you just heard, we use Guide.xml, which is an XML dialect or domain-specific language on top of XML that is made for Gentoo documentation. I reckon it's good for doing documentation, however it's bad for doing a website, because we have for websites HTML as the reference markup, as the markup that's available. And with Guide.xml we are putting an artificial limit to what we can express on websites. Because currently we think of our website as documentation. So we have documentation pages built in a documentation markup and transferred to HTML. And that's probably not the way we should think of a website that's made for attracting users. Documentation, of course, is an important part, but not the key to the website. So I asked developers, would you rather use HTML than Guide.xml for setting your project pages? And there were quite a lot of people. I've expected less people. No, I have expected so many people to want it. We've had only around 35% with the negative attitude towards this, with a majority favoring it or being in a sort of neutral state. Very common was also the reply, I want to use a wiki for the project pages. Just for the developers here, would you want a wiki as the base for your project page instead of a CVS or Git managed XML file in Guide.xml? You shrug, you raise your hand, you don't? Half.
Wait. I think for Ruby right now we just made a static page as a project page within the normal website, and then just link to relevant pages in the wiki that change often, which is kind of how we solved it.
Do you feel it's an improvement over using?
For some of the things it is easy, the easy editing and the fact that people can help to make things more clear is convenient. Yeah, But for some information, it's nice to be authoritative on the project page too. But mostly that's for information that isn't changing a lot.
Okay. Still at somewhat, oh, you?
The reason I said they're half-half, the wiki would make editing a hell of a lot easier, but one of the things the infra team takes advantage of occasionally is the fact that we can go and add things to XSLT and add more useful transforms for parts of our pages, and have some simple tags that explain to more complex things.
Yeah, but the wiki can do that as well.
Yeah, we have to go and convert all of our XSLT to whatever wiki expansion templates. Can you help with those?
Probably, of course, if we already change things, of course we need to migrate things. That's like the same thing if we change from CSS to Git, we just have to shuffle things around. But I think that we get the same features we get from our custom XML into custom wiki markup. That wouldn't be an issue. And I think it would be probably even less of a problem, because one of the questions I also asked was, how familiar are you with several web technologies? And a majority of developers said they were well familiar with HTML. And what GuideXML partially is doing is taking HTML, taking a subset of it, and renaming certain elements, like the table cell is different in GuideXML and HTML. I have no idea why. And these are just things that make the markup less well understandable and are an obstacle to people learning it. And so if we use the wiki syntax with maybe, okay, we can get it the same semantic tag. We don't have the brackets in that way. We have a different markup.
GuideXML was derived from DocBook XML, not HTML.
Okay.
That's the origin of that naming.
Okay, so we have a website with documentation that is not in HTML but GuideXML. So I think you see the flaw in there.
Yes.
And it wouldn't get worse in a wiki. That's probably the point that I'm trying to make here. So also there's this this phenomenon of over the recent years to use these fancy web CMS tools. I also asked in the fourth question, would you rather use a wiki or such a CMS? And people tend to prefer the wiki a little, but well. What we can neglect and forget about is what you see is what you get, because no one really wants that. And what I also wanted to know, to get a feel for the idea of not having a code repository for the website is, do you use CVS diff often? Which is a feature that you typically get from a code repository and fairly well emulated on the wiki. And it turns out not many people use it. So that shouldn't be an obstacle for us to not go to another platform than a code repository. So we'll probably, in the near or far future, make a formal proposal to move project pages out of the website to the wiki. Of course, evaluating pros and cons and the usual Gentoo dev flame wars. Yeah.
Just small interjection. The OpenSUSE project uses a wiki for everything, and we can take a look at how they do it and see advantages and disadvantages before moving our stuff.
I know that Fedora are also using a wiki for project pages exclusively. So, I mean, there is a front page for users, a user landing page. We have the download links. This is not a wiki, I think, or at least it looks differently from the wiki.
Okay, maybe not the front page really, but whereas the packaging guidelines, the documentation, frequently asked, well, everything, almost everything really is in the wiki. Since it keeps history, it's just...
Yeah.
Same with OpenSUSE.
Yeah. And of course, we'll need to work with the Gentoo documentation team to see what their feelings are about where they want their contents. I hear from some people there that they're not even fixated on GuideXML anymore, so we'll see about that. So this is something that I will propose in the far near future. Okay, so now we're getting actually to the questions where I split the user groups. I asked a few things about how you like the visual appearance, the navigation, the content selection and quality. Two examples I want to show you now are how people differently rate the appearance and the quality of the content. Here I split up participants into developers and users, and then into old users, new users, and then prospective users. One thing that is common amongst the survey is that developers are more critical of our things than users are. And you can see that with the rather large red areas, especially developers and prospect users don't like the looks of the site. Not really sure why developers don't like it, because I would sort of put them into a group with the long-time users, or the more experienced users, which seem to like the visual aesthetics a bit better. Things look differently when you look at the quality. They have a very large green area with around 60% positive replies and only very little content issues. Again, the developers and prospect users are a bit critical of us. One particular issue are social media. I included this question out of curiosity. So we had several kinds of users. There was, in the end, a free text field where people could put comments on Gentoo.org, the www site, other sites, and what things they would want to have and what they would want to have and what they would never do. And we have had quite some people who say, please don't use social media, no buttons, no sharing, no nothing, no nada. And then again, we've had a massive amount of people who said, hey, use more Google+. Well, we are on Google+, which is one of the recent achievements that the PR project has had. We are on Google+, and we are even verified by now, which is amazing because some other Linux distributions managed to do that weeks before us, but finally we got in. And we also have around 4,000 people following our project page, which is a nice thing. Then again, people want more of us on Twitter and Facebook. What I would probably tell the people who say, don't use social media, blah, blah, you don't have to use it. So we can offer it. If you don't want to use it, that's fine. We're probably not going to spend most of our time tweeting every package update. Or we could automate that, yeah, but I don't know. We're probably not going to tweet all day and all night what we're going to eat and whatnot. But if someone from PR or someone has time to update these things, we'll probably go about and acquire accounts. I know that the Twitter account for Gentoo is owned by an open source interested person who doesn't use it, so we're probably going to ask them if they would want to surrender the account to us so that we could put some use to it. But also this depends on how many volunteers we find. So that's social media. More things from the free text field, and Robin is slowly dying from laughter. Is that people, again, comment on our content, and they particularly like the handbook, and they think it's a good thing, albeit sometimes in need of an update in terms of developments. For instance, people regularly have written in the comments that we should finally put ext4 as a file system in the examples. I don't know why people put things about the website in these boxes, because I cannot fix them. But well, yes, I could fix it if I was root, but then Nightmorph would be mad at me, and I don't want that. Another thing that people quite often said is, well, it's good that it loads fast, no JavaScript, no nothing. If we were to redo the site, we would probably go by that principle again, but come on, it's 2012. Having a little jQuery in the site just to make something pop up and down in a modern experience on a tablet device, which, by the way, many people use. We also asked, what devices do you use to browse our website? And of course, the most common thing was the desktop PC with a graphical browser. And we've had more people use a smaller screen handheld device like a tablet or a smartphone than people using a console browser. So maybe we should target those instead of the console browser users a bit more. Of course, we would want ours. I would probably say if your browser supports CSS, it should support JavaScript. And if it doesn't, we're not going to rely on this. So you get an acceptable experience for text browser users as well as an improved, so to say, experience for for people using a proper desktop or tablet or smartphone browser. On the negative side of things, people often complain about the lack of site-wide search, which is surprising because we have Google and they could just type in whatever they want and would probably find it, but still people would want it. Not sure if Infra is interested in getting something up or custom Google box.
Just asking, can we put a box that redirects to a custom Google search?
You can probably do that.
Done.
Then again, there are, I've seen an interesting project, which is YACY, Y-A-C-Y, which is a sadly Java-based search application that includes content loaders for several content management systems. For instance, for PHP it has a specific crawler that we could use to crawl all our sites. That's something that I saw and not sure how it's feasible, just an idea.
Send me a link.
Robin sounds excited about that idea. We're going to have to include a search engine picker for the search box to make sure that people who want to use Bing and Yahoo and Yandex.
And Baidu for the Chinese, of course.
Sure, sorry, I can only name the first 4 I thought of. That's
You should
all.
probably add a Bugzilla category for new search engine requests. And they have longer priority by default. All right, so I mean, I'm just telling you what the users think. Then again, we've had often the response, hey, the newsletter should be back. Yes, of course it should be back. Feel free to write it. I'm not going to do it. So the same went for the wiki. Hey, the wiki should have more contents. Yeah, it's a wiki. Get an account, write pages. Thank you. And one thing that also came up is we should merge the contents of the 2 wikis. You know, there's the community wiki that suffered from amnesia around 3 or 4 years ago and lost some, if not all, valuable content. We've only launched our wiki a year ago. It was last November. And by the way, we're reaching the 60,000 visits a month range, which is a very nice thing. Hence, it being slow because currently every request hits the PHP, which is not a good thing. So, but we're working on it to get things better there. And people want the contents from the old wiki, the community wiki, or the restored version of the community wiki to be merged with our wiki. But that's not possible for licensing reasons. The Gentoo documentation has been CC by share-alike forever, I think. And the community wiki has decided to use the by share-alike non-commercial version, which, as we heard earlier, is going to go away anyway. So we cannot merge contents. This is something that we cannot do. Okay, so you've heard about what we European event people do and what the community thinks the website needs in terms of changes or doesn't need in terms of changes. Now I'd like to hear from you. What do you think on public presence, events, website, whatnot? Should we have Gentoo underwear? I think we already do.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on the wiki. There are some wiki engines that are also manageable by version control systems. So if we are deciding to move the project pages or so, it is also useful if one wants to, for example, bundle the wiki content on the live DVD or so it's accessible offline and so.
Yes, I'm not sure how widespread these systems actually are.
There are projects using it for main pages like chirographics, for example.
All right. I'm not sure we're going to switch wiki systems again.
Yeah, I just wanted to raise it for discussion.
Yeah, they were part of the evaluation when you look at what wiki we should use, but we really wanted the more featureful and well-known and well-tested software. Jeremy.
Yeah, one idea I have on the website, I'm a fan of a new website design. I'm not volunteering for it or anything like that, but when I look at other distributions on their website, it is very obvious on how they join the project. I think that's one idea that we can definitely improve on, is how how to just go to the homepage and see how to join the project. Were there any comments on that in any of the results, or?
There were several mentions of how do I contribute, and the link on the left sidebar, which also is huge. We have like this left sidebar with 400 items that no one grasps in one look. It links to the DEFRA handbook, I think, when you click on joining or something or contribute, and you're greeted with a wall of text. And this is probably not the right way to do it. Yes.
Hi.
Hey.
A couple of things that popped to mind here. I'm currently working in conversion business on the websites. And the thing that pops to mind looking at Gentoo's website is there seems to be no immediate goal to this website. As in, when you design a website, you want the user to go through some kind of a journey. There seems to be no obvious goal here. There's no call to action, no, there's so many choices, you kind of get lost in this. Then the next question is, where's this website strategy written up? I, for example, cannot discover this place where the website is being discussed, or is everything on Bugzilla about the website too?
I'm not sure. Are you referring to the Daniel Robbins posts when he designed the last?
No, I don't even know. I don't even know how this website is compiled. Like, who decides what the front page is supposed to look like, what the goal of the whole thing is, and so forth.
All right. So they're how do I put this? So the website has been, I think, in the past, somewhat managed by the documentation team, because they have the most wide-ranging access to the CVS that backs it. Or there was Nightmorph, I know, that also did the web stuff, probably as a side project to his doc work. And he's more or less active, emphasis on less. And yeah, and some random people start putting fixes in. And there's probably no real strategy at the moment behind this, and little to no discussion. Okay,
so where can I get an overview of the team? You just said it in voice, but it's kind of hard to remember.
Just write an email to www@gentoo.org. I will probably be the person to reply.
All right, perfect. I can go from that. All right, thanks.
So I've had also several people offer help who are web designers or people who know people, and I will probably go about trying to put together a team with these guys and see what we can come up with. Marcos.
Hi, Alex. Well, just so you know, the Qt team is also using the wiki for the meetings and logs and guidelines, so thank you for that. I was wondering if you can tell me what's the status of the PR team. I mean, how many members are there, and
the status of PR, the project.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have. Let me think. We still have Donnie Burkholz as the PR lead, who is, when he has time, does things. We have David Abbott, who is also on the trustees. He's behind the interviews, I think. He's doing his podcast, which he'll post on the website. He's doing all sorts of random news items that pop up. That's what he does. We have Sebastian Pipping, who is doing a little for EV events, that sort of thing, and keeping the events page up to date. We have then basically Christopher, Chet had, or Chitan Ha, I don't know, but what Nick, you best remember him. And me, we're doing the Google Plus page, and I'm stepping at the website. So that's just basically the active part of PR. I hope I didn't forget anyone without looking at the project page. Oh, you're on PR. Retire him, please.
Okay.
Thanks.
And one more question for you.
Yeah.
Now that we have like Google Plus and Twitter and stuff, do you think that we can use them to generate newsletters, like aggregate all the posts for every month and then send out a newsletter for that?
I don't know.
Instead of writing one or own.
Come again with that.
I mean,
we use Twitter for generating a news. You mean we use user submissions from Twitter?
Yeah.
I would probably not go that let's publish a newsletter once a month route again. I would probably use single posts that people give us and repost those and not like compile a monthly. This is like the kindergarten 1989 thing. You get a parent's letter every month or so. This is not really what we should do these years. I would really take these submissions if we get any. We got some from Google Plus, where we can link pages. So if you put like a hash Gentoo, we would get a notification, and we got some funny pictures from there that I shared, and we can certainly do that in the other social media we do as well. But I personally wouldn't start another monthly or weekly or whatever time period you want newsletter.
Do you know how like sites like the LWN or other Linux websites pick news from the distributions? Do they use the social media, or do they monitor our mailing lists? What would be the best source of information for them?
LWN, I think, is subscribed to lots of mailing lists, because the stories you click, you usually get like an email header from the lists this was posted on. You would probably have to ask them, though.
Okay.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I think they are subscribed to basically all of the mailing lists, and then look at the threads. There are 300 plus posts. Yeah, looking at the page, I have to agree that normally when you use it for a long time, I guess you just know where to click and you don't even look. It's like muscle memory, but it is really convoluted. So I guess simplifying it down later on will be just I don't know. For example, you have. What is there? Documentation. There is IBM DW Intel article archive. There is downloads and there is mirrors, which I think mirrors could be under downloads and yeah.
Yeah, we currently have two navigations, or two main navigations.
Yeah, left and
one horizontal, one vertically. The stupid thing is it is both duplicated, and then it disappears on certain pages. So once you click into a documentation page, it just disappears, and you think, okay, how do I get back? Oh, back button, okay. But this is not really what we want, and yeah. This should be fixed.
Yeah, but okay, you all know that, so.
You want beer? Me too. Thank you. Oh, one more. Damn. I'm thirsty.
So, yeah. Right,
Yeah.
events.
If you could just, yeah.
I'm just like trying to gather my question up. Do you think we should do more? Are there places, I think Europe and, I don't want to say America is well covered, but we at least have some events in America. I don't really know of anyone going to events in Asia or South America or Africa. Not that are there any Linux events there? Do we know?
There are.
Don't forget FISL.
Don't forget what?
FISL. The largest Brazilian conference is FISL, and I know Pilla and Rafael Martins were there last time, if I recall correctly. So they've been doing it.
Excellent.
Brazil.
I think we
The
also
trustees have given them money for FISL, so yes.
yeah.
Perhaps.
I think we also had people at the FOSS.in in India.
Okay.
So there are events, but so
Mark did some events in Australia.
Okay. Yes, Mark Alex is retiring. I guess I want to see people submit more stuff to the, I don't know, like the website and the plus page. I think we're doing a lot better job now than we were a year ago or 2 years ago with like posting stuff, particularly with Davitt. He seems to post a lot. Agree, disagree? Should we encourage people to send stuff to PR?
Yes, of course.
I think we should do it more, personally, and people should just feel free to send things. I feel like they're very, I mean, I'm on PR, we don't get that much mail.
Yeah, the problem is now only what do we turn down? Of course, we want submissions, but from some user submissions I've seen, let me be frank, we've had several contests for artwork. And the things we've got submitted there are probably categorized as best effort. I mean, it's nice to see involvement, but it's also hard for us to say no to some things, especially when we don't have so many submissions and we don't have that many to choose from. And one point that I would want to see enforced a little more is having the idea of a single Gentoo logo and a single Gentoo logo font and a single color and a single representation that we agree on. We should probably stop doing these things that we do here, because the German guys have this weird logo which is a blocky font, and there are several versions of the logo itself where we have a blended rendered one, we have an SVG version, we have this weird red Gentoo type that was the Bugzilla header before we updated it. And all these things would probably get a bit unified, but then again, that's a problem of motivation.
Can we go and steal Ubuntu's branding guide?
If it's Creative Commons, share alike, and attribute, then yes.
Go for it.
Yeah, we should really do something like that and have people follow it. But that's going to be hard, educating hackers to...
We'll give you a big stick.
Okay. But yes, that's something else that we should work on. All right. Then thanks for your questions, remarks, and attention.
Thank you, Alex.